What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you the battle for Week 2 of Season 2 of the UBL, and this week we are up against none other than aDrive and his Minnesota Vikavolts. And before I get into the team, just a reminder that if you guys liked this video, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button, it helps us out a ton, and let's just do more cool stuff for you guys. And if you are new to the channel, first of all, welcome, and second of all, here at TTM we're a collaborative channel, so there is more than just my Draft League content. We also have 2 other draft format content creators, as well as some TCG content, and a little bit more on the horizon, just a little spoiler there for anybody looking towards the future of TTM. So yeah, if any of that interests you, please feel free to subscribe, and also check out aDrive. I mean, if you have not already, 1, not sure why you haven't, but 2, his link will be down in the description. He is one of the highest quality, most consistent PokeTubers, and really one of the face of Pokemon on YouTube, so yeah, definitely check him out. And yeah, so I mean, let's just go ahead and get into the team. Oh, really quickly, want to give a huge shout out to Automatic this week, who genned my team, and Crobat for the win, fellow Token Minority, who recorded the battle, went above and beyond. Big shout outs, dude. Much love. Thank you so much for all the help that you did in trying to upgrade the quality from last week. But now let's get on to the team. Like I said, we are up against aDrive and his Minnesota Vikavolts, and quite frankly, this date was circled on my calendar as soon as I saw the schedule, because aDrive, like I said, is one of the faces of PokeTubing. I mean, he's a very good content creator. I mean, he's very well known, and just, I mean, honestly, I'm just super excited to be able to play against one of the people who really is the face of something that I love to do. So was very excited to get the chance to go up against him, and his team is very scary. I mean, he's got the Jirachi, Alolan Ninetales, Donphan, Rotom, Excelgor, Wobbuffet, Mega Altaria, Manaphy, Gengar, Scrafty, and Go-Goat. And like I said last week, I'm not going to go into as much detail in my team builders as I usually do. I mean, I spent like 15 to 20 minutes per team last season of the CPC, but this time I'm just going to go quickly through his team, what are the threats, what's my thought process, and what I am bringing. So his team, very setup heavy. There's nothing that's a huge immediate threat apart from the Gengar, which I quite frankly don't have a switch into, so my whole game plan is to just deny setup, and then also just make each of my Mons able to deal with Gengar 1v1, because while I might not have a switch in necessarily to Gengar on my entire team, I want to have each of my Mons make it so Gengar is not just completely safe against them. So the first Mon I am bringing is my Mew, and this is going to be my offensive pivot, really just kind of a Mon that I can get rocks up, spread around chip damage, because my sweepers can very easily take out his team. Like, I think I have a very good matchup with my 2 most prominent sweepers being the Mega Scizor and the Scolipede. So Mew is just a nice way to get up rocks, which are very huge for a lot of different calcs throughout the game, and then also Super Fang for chip damage, and Roost and Knockoff just to wear things down, get rid of choice scarves that might be an issue, get rid of leftovers, really whatever he happens to have as a way of trying to check one of my 2 sweepers. Just Mew is a nice way to get the chip damage that I need for them to sweep. The attack, yeah, I guess I'm going to get to the attack, but the speed, I always like to start off with speed, just enough to guaranteed outspeed Mega Altaria so that I can get the Super Fang off 100%, put it in range of Scizor for sure before I go down. The attack is enough to OHKO Gengar after Stealth Rock, after I take the hit with the Cassib Berry. I think Cassib, I'm going to be saying Cassib, so yeah, just plug your ears if you don't think that's how it should be said. But the Cassib Berry, just my way of having Mew be able to stay in on Gengar, because like I said, don't have a switch in, so Mew is just able to stay in, chew a Shadow Ball. I think even a Specs Shadow Ball will not knock me out after I think even 2 rounds of rocks. Like, Mew is very fat, in case you guys hadn't noticed. So yeah, Knockoff plus Cassib is for the Gengar. Knockoff in general is just very spammable. And yeah, so that's what the attack is for, and then the rest of the investment I threw into Spadef just so I can take hits from Gengar, that way I can sustain the most chip damage before I'm in range of a Shadow Ball through Cassib on my Mew. Next up we have one of my sweepers, which is a Swords Dance Scizor with Bullet Punch, Swords Dance Roost, and U-Turn, and really this is just kind of a Mon that I can easily get up to +2 on like Donphan, Jirachi locked into something, maybe even a Manaphy if it hasn't set up and doesn't have HP Fire. Just basically this is a Mon that, barring a fire move or an unboosted fire move, can take hits very, very well against his team, and also deters kind of like the Iron Head flinch strategy. And also this is my way of deterring Aurora Veil from going up immediately, just be able to bullet punch through the Ninetales if it is light play. So that's really kind of the thought process with Scizor, is just wait until late game, Swords Dance up, bullet punch through his team. The speed, just a general speed creep. The attack is enough to guaranteed Oko, max defense Mega Altaria at +2 after rocks, and then the rest thrown into attack and special defense, because I feel like Mega Scizor is going to need to take a special attack more than I think it's going to need to take a physical attack, whether that's to set up, whether that's just a switch in, just whatever the case is. I feel like Mega Scizor is going to need to take a special attack more than physical attack. That's why I decided to go with Spadef in addition to Scizor's naturally high defense. Next up, we have a Choice Scarf, Decidueye with Leaf Blade, Spirit Shackle, Brave Bird, and U-Turn. And just straightforward, this Mon is just a nice scouter against his team. It's a nice revenge killer for things like Gengar and Manaphy. Jirachi to a lesser extent, because Spirit Shackle is barely a 2-hit KO. It's not even a 2-hit KO if he's bulky, so that's something I have to watch out for. Brave Bird is nice for the Excelgor, because otherwise that's a huge problem for my team, and the Scrafty, and then U-Turn just nice for scouting. The speed is enough to speed creep Excelgor trying to speed creep my Alolan Persian, so just speed creeping the speed creep at that point. Maxed out my attack, threw a lot into special defense, just because, once again, like I said with Scizor, I feel like I'm going to need to take a special attack more so than a physical attack, and especially because this is one of my ways of revenging Manaphy. If it does happen to be Z Rain Dance and my Thundurus does go down, I want to be able to take a neutral Ice Beam or like a +3 Surf as well as I possibly can. Next up, we have Scolipede, the Scolipede, and this Mon has an amazing matchup. Like, this Mon can almost auto-win depending on what he brings. With Swords Dance, Earthquake, and Dual Stab, covers his team perfectly. Bugginium Z is the perfect Z move for this particular matchup. I mean, I might prefer Waturium, but I mean, he unfortunately has the Waturium, so we can't do anything about that. But I mean, this set is just as good, gets all the relevant KOs, hits the relevant numbers, and whatnot. The speed is to naturally outspeed Gengar, because once again, don't have any switch-ins, so Scolipede, even if I have to bring it in on Gengar just 1v1, I still will be able to outspeed that thing and knock it out with an Earthquake, and then just max attack and maximize my EVs through this. Unfortunately, I'm not 252, but that's because if I was, say, like if I was 4 HP and max attack, then I'd be at an even number. I didn't want that, so I reduced my attack a little bit to throw one more point into HP. It really didn't make a difference on the calc, so I just rolled with it. And here we have my Manaphy switching in an Assault Vest Thundurus Therian with Volt Switch and Thunderbolt, Brick Break, and Sludge Bomb. Now, Aurora Veil, like I said, my plan is to deter the setup and try to prevent it as much as possible, but if it does go up, I need a way to play around that, and so Brick Break Thundurus is my way of doing that. This is also my way of switching immediately into Manaphy and dealing with it, whether it's Wakan, no matter what it might be. Thundurus should be able to take it on, should be able to switch in immediately, even on Stealth Rock, and at the very least get a hit off to where Bullet Punch can knock it out. So Thundurus is just a nice way, just kind of a blanket check to his special mons, but in particular Manaphy, it's just nice to not have to worry about that thing. The speed is so I outspeed it. The 2 electric attacks, Volt Switch is for momentum, obviously, if Manaphy's really low. Thunderbolt is if I need just a little bit more oomph in order to kill Manaphy. Brick Break is obviously for the Alolan Ninetales, get rid of Aurora Veil, and then Sludge Bomb is so Altaria cannot set up on me, as we do force the turn 1 Mega. The speed, Manaphy. The special attack is to guaranteed Oko, max HP Manaphy after Stealth Rock, just cover my bases, hit as hard as I need to, but still have a good amount into HP so that I can take hits. And yeah, it's pretty just straightforward on Thundurus. And finally is the Mon that I'm most excited to bring. I'm going to speed this up because I've been talking for way too long, sorry about that. But a Technician Life Orb Persian, which has an amazing, amazing matchup. I mean, between Snarl, HP Steel, and Thunderbolt, I cover his team very well. Thought about Nasty Plot, but Parting Shot I decided on just because it enables my 2 sweepers that have a relatively better matchup and can take hits a lot better than Alolan Persian. So yeah, Parting Shot just good for momentum, good for enabling setup. Snarl, HP Steel, and Thunderbolt cover his team very, very well. The speed is for Gengar. I maxed out my special attack, and then instead of throwing it into HP, I threw it into special defense because, again, I feel like I'm going to need to take a special hit more than a physical hit. Not that Alolan Persian could really take it anyway, but I also reduced my HP IVs so that I would only take 13 damage from Life Orb instead of 14. So, yeah, that is the team, and let's just go ahead and hop right on over to the battle. Alrighty, so here we are with the battle, and the first thing I'm noticing is that he really brought all of the things that I did not want to see, particularly the Scrafty. I was thinking that Scrafty was one of the only Mons that he had on his entire team, probably the only true Mon that can prevent a Scolipede sweep almost on its own, because I mean, once Scolipede got to +2, it would run through his team. Scrafty was pretty much his only way around that, and besides keeping Donphan at full. But we see the Scrafty, that's unfortunate. We see the Jirachi, Altaria, Manaphy, and so it's just like, oh boy, this is gonna be interesting. But seeing that he does not have the Alolan Ninetales, I don't have to try to deter the Aurora Veil setup immediately. So what I'm gonna do is prioritize my rocks, lead off with Mew, and just see how this goes. So yeah, let's jump on into the battle. So I'm trying to get better at timing this intro, and quite frankly still don't have it down completely, but I'm working on it. I am getting better. But like I said, I lead off with my Mew. I'm just going to get my rocks up ASAP, as he does lead with his Donphan. Now, I know I said that I wanted to get my rocks up immediately, but this Donphan, besides the Scrafty, is one of the few things that can reliably take a hit from Scolipede, so I know that he can't knock me out in one hit with any attack, so I'm going to go immediately for a knockoff, get rid of potential lefties. We saw that it was actually Iapapa, so now no recovery for this Donphan. Any damage that I get is there to stay, and now I'm going to take this opportunity to go for my rocks. He can kill me with another knockoff if he wants to, but apparently we think alike. We decided to knock off first turn, rocks next turn, and now considering that my Mew is in against the Donphan, I will go down to another knockoff. I decide, you know what, let's just roost a little bit. Super Fang the Donphan later for a little bit more damage, a little bit more chip, as he does go for the knockoff. And as you can see, now that my item is gone, he has no way of knocking me out this coming turn, barring a crit. So I'm just going to take this opportunity, go for the Super Fang, like I said, get the Donphan even lower. Now, considering that the Donphan is offensive, which we could tell by the damage, it is now in range of a regular Mega Horn from Scolipede, which is beautiful. He does get me on this turn as he goes into his Gengar, as I am forced to roost. But I mean, really, I had no reason to not roost. I didn't want to risk the potential Rapid Spin KO, as that would just, quite frankly, be atrocious for me. And now I'm just going to stay in with my Mew. I don't have the Cassib Berry anymore. Can't take a hit from Gengar, so I'm just going to stay in and knock off, prevent him from setting up a sub. And what was kind of funny is I was really tempted to go out into a Alolan Persian on this sub right there, which would have ended up working out amazingly, because I would have been able to Snarl. But I decided that, you know what, Mew, I need to play it safe. If I play it safe, I think I have the matchup. I think I can just win by making all the obvious moves. So just sack off my Mew, and we are down 6-5. But now I'm able to go into my Persian, and thinking that he has a very, very, very easy switch into Scrafty right now, I'm going to go for the Parting Shot. I'm going to make a little bit more of an aggressive play. Go for the Parting Shot. Even if he stayed in, I would have had it at -1, so I wouldn't have taken as big a hit. It still would have sucked. But he does go into his Donphan over his Scrafty, which, I mean, makes sense. He was trying to take potentially 2 defensive knockoffs and spin away my rocks, but because I go for the Parting Shot, I do have to switch out instead of just knocking it out with Snarl. And I had 2 options. Could have gone into Decidueye or Scolipede. Decidueye would have allowed in Ninetales. Scolipede, while inaccurate, would be able to knock out the Donphan, which is ultimately what I decided to do. Just go in there, risk the Mega Horn. It does pay off. I am able to knock off the Donphan, or knock out the Donphan, sorry. And now I'm in a great position. I'm forcing his hand. He goes into his Scrafty, and we see the Intimidate. Now that tells me that this is more than likely a defensive Scrafty, aka not a banded Scrafty, because I live a Fire Punch from anything that's not a banded Scrafty. So that being the case, I'm going to immediately Swords Dance up as a +1 rather. Savage Spin Out will do more to Scrafty than a -1 Savage Spin Out plus Mega Horn. So I Swords Dance on that turn. I am at +1 now, and even if I'm not able to KO him, my best play is still just to go for my Z move, like I was saying, see if I can knock out this Scrafty, and if I do, then I'm in I'm in beyond an amazing position. So yeah, we're gonna go for that Z move, and hopefully if this Scrafty is anything but max defense, we will be able to knock it out. So right now the HP is going down, and we do pick up the KO. So that is absolutely huge, meaning we are able to take out the Scrafty. We are still a +1 Scolipede. We're going to be faster than absolutely everything on his team. So something is going to take a big hit, if not go down. Brings in his Manaphy. I calced. There's absolutely zero way I'm going to be able to one-shot a Manaphy at +1, even an uninvested still choose. So instead of risking the Mega Horn miss and putting myself in a bad position, I'm just going to go straight for the Poison Jab, think that, okay, going to get knocked out by the Surf, but the Manaphy has taken damage. It is in range of my Thundurus at this point, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Going to go straight into my Thundurus, fire off a Thunderbolt. Even if this is Wakanberry, still will be able to KO it, and then force his hand, force in the Gengar. If the Gengar comes in, I am Assault Vest, so I will be able to take the hit. Jirachi would have to go for a resisted move or something, and if the Altaria comes in, I still have the Sludge Bomb for that thing. So he goes into his Altaria, and this play really confused me. I thought, okay, so I mean, he's not in a great position, but I mean, I guess he wanted to go into Altaria to try to get chip damage off so that Gengar would be able to KO him. But he goes into his Altaria. I'm, of course, going for the Sludge Bomb. I am not letting this thing set up on me at all, and that is going to be a guaranteed 2-hit KO. That's a pretty bulky Altaria, and I do get the Poison, which, I mean, it's cool, but doesn't seem to matter that much, as he actually goes for the Cotton Guard. So I guess he was expecting my switch, or maybe anticipating Thundurus to be choiced in some way. But either way, this does mean my Thundurus is going to be able to kill the Altaria or get a big hit on something. And this turn, I'm going to go for another Sludge Bomb. Super obvious, but I mean, this kind of goes to the fact that I'm not used to playing on Wi-Fi. I was thinking that I overestimated the damage of Sludge Bomb and Thunderbolt wouldn't kill, so he is able to bring in his Jirachi, and as it turns out, the Thunderbolt damage, had I gone for the correct move, didn't end up mattering, as this is a Choice Scarf Jirachi, and the only way it would have mattered is if I got a Para, which, I mean, it's okay. I don't want to knock out the Jirachi that way. I'd rather him just come in, be immune, knock himself out with Healing Wish, and he's bringing back up the Altaria. But this situation, like, because this is Cotton Guard, I'm assuming, well, I know that this is defensive Altaria, so I will be able to 2-hit KO this thing, and no matter what he does, if he Dragon Dances, I can go into my Scizor and Revenge Kill, and if he doesn't, then my Thundurus will outspeed and 2-hit KO it. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for the Sludge Bomb. He body slams me, puts me very low, and again, could have made the prediction. Felt that I had absolutely zero reason to, so I'm just going to stay in with my Thundurus. My Persian actually has the game locked up at this point, so that is really what I'm going for. Just get some damage off on the Gengar, and he is going to be able to knock me out with a Life Orb Dazzling Gleam. Now, I had two options here. I could go into Scizor or I could go into Persian. I go into Persian because one way he could win is by me going Scizor or me going Decidueye. I mean, I really wouldn't have gone Decidueye because I didn't know that it would 100% knock out the Altaria from this range. But if I'd gone Scizor, knocked out the Gengar with Bullet Punch, and he got Cursed Body, then he would have a very good chance to actually come back. So instead of doing that, I'm going to give Persian its moment in the sun, gonna bring it in, knock out the Gengar with Thunderbolt because we aren't risking Snarl out here, and the Mega Altaria comes in, we'll be able to knock that thing out with a Life Orb, Hidden Power Steel, and Persian is going to be able to clean up the game, and we are able to take the win 3-0 against aDrive. Now, admittedly, I wanted Persian to do a little bit more work, but you know what? I consider 2 KOs against a Gengar and a Mega Altaria to be very, very satisfactory. Scolipede punched a huge hole early, and I did not even have to bring in my Mega Scizor or my Decidueye, so very, very solid win. We moved to 2-0 on the season. aDrive is a very good player, so it's always nice to get a solid win against somebody like that. But yeah, for the time being, I hope you guys enjoyed the battle. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.